welcome. Today I'll be doing a prenatal friendly yoga sequence. I am not currently pregnant. I have a young son. I've been pregnant before. And I am a prenatal and postnatal yoga teacher. So I will lead you through a prenatal friendly, gentle yoga sequence today. I'm going to use 2 blocks, a strap, a towel, and a yoga bolster. If you don't have blocks or a proper yoga strap or even a yoga bolster, that's just fine. You could use a belt or a long scarf instead of a strap. That would be fine. You could use any towel you might have at home. That's just to create a little cushion for your bottom. You could use extra pillows to create some elevation. You could use blocks. You could find any other miscellaneous items around your house that might mimic the shape of a block to help you today. And then in place of a yoga bolster, you could find a firm pillow or 2 from your bed or from your couch that you could use instead of this. We're going to start off today in a nice comfortable shape. So you'll take your blocks or whatever you're using instead of blocks, and you'll make a little tower. So the top block is at the highest height. The second block is the longest, flattest height, and there's just a little bit of space between the 2 blocks. Your bolster will come up the blocks to create a little ramp. You see I make a little ramp, and then I'm going to just use my folded up towel here to create a cushion. You could also just use a pillow, or maybe you don't even need the cushion and you just put your bottom right on the ground. And I'm just going to take my seat and slide it right off the edge of this supported shape. Before I get too comfortable, especially if you're pregnant or farther along, you might want to make sure you have all your stuff near you if you need water or anything. And I'm just going to lay myself down. So I want my lower back supported by the bolster. And then bring the soles of your feet together and your knees open wide like a butterfly shape. If this is too much without support, you could add some more blocks if you have more blocks, or grab maybe a throw pillow off your couch and put them underneath your knees. So just right under. I'll actually demo here with these little pillows I've got. Just sliding them to support your outer hip, so this is really comfortable. As you lay back, if the incline is too low, then maybe you pile up another pillow behind your head. I'll demo with this one here to create just a little bit more height, especially as you move along in your pregnancy, if breathing is uncomfortable in the flatter shape. So get yourself settled and then let yourself release here. Close your eyes. You can let your arms gently drape by your sides, or you could bring your hands in contact with your baby, in contact with your baby and your heart, or maybe just both hands at your heart or both hands at your baby. So figure out what the placement is that feels nice to you. And then start to quiet your mind by focusing just on your breath. Allow your breath pace to deepen and to lengthen. And take this moment at the beginning of this practice to check in first with yourself. So you might even move both of your hands to your own heart, placing your hands at your heart. Take a moment to check in with yourself physically, to scan your body physically, to notice what you're feeling today. Take that awareness internally now, checking in with yourself emotionally, checking in with what's on your mind. Try to acknowledge and accept whatever you're feeling, whatever is on your mind, without judgment. And be kind to yourself here. And then bring your hands down to your baby and check in with your baby. Start with the physical. Feel your baby, feel your belly underneath your hands. You might even feel your baby moving if your baby is active right now. And then maybe You're directing your thoughts. You're directing your breath. Maybe you're having a conversation with your baby. Just take this moment to connect in whatever way feels nice, feels organic to you. Take this moment to connect to your baby. Release your hands, circle them overhead, and clasp opposite elbows or wrists. You can let the arms be supported by the pillow behind you, or you can let the arms drape a little bit over to intensify the stretch across your chest. You might stay still here if this feels nice, or you might lean just a little bit to the left, just a little bit to the right to create some length in the sides of the body. You might start to stretch the arms long. You could intertwine your palms, turn the hands inside out. And again, find those little gentle side body leans. When you're ready, let the arms go and start to plant the feet on the ground. So if you're using these extra supports, like I have the pillows, maybe you slide those pillows or blocks out of the way. You're going to want to have your strap or whatever you're using in place of your strap handy. Start though with just the feet on the ground, a nice wide stance. And then just allow your awareness to come to the soles of your feet and then place the palms of your hands on the ground. So bring your awareness both to the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet where you're connecting to the earth. You can have your eyes opened or you could reclose them. Take a few big, long, deep, grounding breaths here. And with this nice wide stance, so my feet are as wide as my yoga mat, let the knees then release in towards one another. They might touch or they might be a little spaced apart, that's fine. And feel that expansion across the lower back. And then very gently start to let the knees release. You might find it more stabilizing to take your arms to a T. Let them release side to side. These can be really small movements here, especially if you're farther along in your pregnancy. So you're just rocking out the outer hips as you expand the lower back. And if you feel like you're sliding off your elevation, you might scoot back up again and then lay yourself back down. We're going to take the strap and you're going to loop it around the ball of the right foot. So if you're super pregnant, you can take that knee nice and wide, and it might be a little coordination effort here, like so many things later on in pregnancy. And then you're going to start to straighten that leg. So for some of us, the leg is going to be really close to parallel to the ground. For others of us, it's going to be straight up to the sky. You might be somewhere in between like I am, and you might have that knee a little bit bent, or it might be really straight. It just depends what feels good to you. We're finding space in the back of the right leg. That left knee can roll open like a half butterfly shape. You could also straighten the leg or keep the knee bent. So you're just finding stability and balance in the opposing leg. And then a little movement can sometimes feel nice. So I don't have a belly here to stop my leg, but your belly might be stopping this movement. That's fine. You're just moving out of whatever resistance you feel. Keep the breath flowing, and if anything is not comfortable or doesn't feel right in your body that I'm offering today, don't do it. Listen to your body above all else. Trust yourself to tell yourself what's right for you today, especially in your pregnancy practice. And I take the straps now, both sides of the strap or scarf into the right hand, and then you're just going to start to peel the right leg open. Take your left hand and really ground down, stabilizing your balance, to find space across the inner thighs and across your belly. And then come all the way back through to center. So the easiest way to get the strap onto the other leg is to lift that opposite leg up, replace one with the opposite, and now you've got it on the left side. So you find the shape with the right leg that makes you feel stable, and you play around with that hamstring stretch on the left side. So it might be some movement. Your leg might be really long. That might be plenty. You might even have a soft bend in the knee or bending and straightening. And really notice how the sides feel in relationship to each other. Maybe one side allows for a little bit more depth than the other. And now the straps will come into the left hand, and your right hand will ground down as you peel that leg open to find expansion. I have a nice bench here. This couch is supporting my leg. You might find that that's nice to orient yourself so that you can use the support of your furniture if you don't want a deeper sensation. And nice and slowly then come back through to center. Bend the knee and release the strap. Set it off to the side. Reground your feet. Now we're going to take the right ankle on top of the left thigh. You might have to lengthen that left leg a little bit to get that ankle across. And there are many variations within this shape. Again, it depends on what's going on in your body today and how far along you are in your pregnancy. The left foot can stay grounded. You could step the left heel closer to your left seat to get more depth on the right side. You could also reach for the back of the left thigh. This would be if you're a little bit earlier on in your pregnancy. The strap can again come in handy. You can sort of loop it around the back of the thigh in order to lift it up if your belly's in the way. So you figure out which version of this figure 4 stretch feels good to you. This is a lot in the right hip, and it's a lot across the lower back. Again, don't do anything that doesn't feel like a positive sensation. And go ahead and release the left foot down if you've lifted the left foot off the ground. Take your left hand to your right foot and your right hand to your right knee. We're just going to draw that shin a little bit towards your chest and then release it back. Draw it in, release it back. One more time, draw it in, release it back. And as you draw it in this time, maybe there's a little cradling effect. Rocking left to right. You can pretend like you're cradling your baby. Just back and forth a few times. And we're going to turn this into a half happy baby on the baby theme here. Bring your right hand behind the right knee. The left knee can roll open for that half butterfly shape, and the knee can bend here. So some people might have their foot parallel to the sky. Some people might have that shin and that ankle just relaxed here. Or there might be something in between where you're pedaling out the foot a little bit. So again, a lot in this right hip and right thigh. So just see what your body needs, how much your body needs, and be willing to do a lot less if your body doesn't need this much. Go ahead and release both feet back down to the ground. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So left ankle on top of right thigh. The foot can stay grounded. You can draw the knee into your chest. You can also use the strap again to grab a hold if you can't reach around your belly. And take a couple breaths here. Release the right foot down. Right hand now comes to left foot. Left hand to left knee, and you'll pull that shin in and out a few times, just pulling it away from the thigh. And then you'll take that cradling, so the rocking side to side, finding some space in the hip here. And transition now to this half happy baby. So the left hand comes behind the left knee, the right knee can peel open. This can be a really relaxed shape. Just holding behind the knee and keeping the shin and the ankle relaxed, or you can take the leg up to the sky and straighten it, bend and straighten. And from here, your choice. You can stay with this one-legged happy baby, or you can come into a full happy baby, which again, might have the shins relaxed, or you might have the knees closer to parallel to the ground. If you're earlier in your pregnancy, you might reach for the outer edges of your feet. You might say, no way, that does not feel good, and then your hands could be down by your knees or on your shins. And when you're ready, just let go of this stretch. And we're going to come up to sit. So however that transition works for you, you might roll to your side to get yourself up. And go ahead, disassemble these props. We'll use the pillow again later at the end of class. We're going to use the blocks throughout class. So have them handy. I'm just going to move this out of the way. If you like to be seated on a cushion on your towel, you can keep that towel underneath you. Start in a comfortable cross-legged seat. You may want to be on some elevation, either your pillow or your towel, if flat on the ground does not feel good to you. Take your blocks, place them outside your hips on the left and right side of your body for your palms. But we're going to start now with the arms circling overhead. So it's okay if you graze, if your fingertips graze the blocks as you come up and over. Inhale and exhale, big circle down. Release your right hand to the block outside your right hip and stretch your left arm really long. You can take the gaze to the sky, or you can keep your gaze down or somewhere in the middle. Come up to center, release the left hand outside the left hip and stretch the right arm really long. Come all the way up to center. Take both arms up and overhead. Intertwine your palms, turn the hands inside out towards the sky, look up to your hands. As you exhale, press the hands straight in front of you as you let your chin tuck to your chest and your back round. Stay still or feel free to rock a little bit left to right. And take the arms all the way back up. Release your hands by your side. Switch whatever leg is in front for your cross-legged shape, or whatever leg is on top, so it's the opposite cross. It's usually the funny feeling one that we do second. As you inhale, take the arms up and overhead again. Bring your right hand to your right knee, so same hand, same knee. Left hand just right in line with your hip, so you can take a little peek over that left shoulder, but keep your belly and your torso nice and neutral. So you're just stretching your chest more than anything else, and maybe a little bit in that neck you might feel. Take your arms up and overhead. Peel open the opposite direction. So the same hand to the same knee, take your gaze over that shoulder. Take your arms up and overhead. Intertwine your palms again. Turn the hands inside out, press to the sky. Exhale, round the back of the body. Rock a little bit side to side if that's a nice addition. And take the arms up and over. Take your blocks now in front of you. Whatever height, you can just start with a flat height. And you're going to uncross your legs so that the soles of your feet come to touch and your knees are open wide. And then find a placement of the heels in proximity to your seat that you feel really stable. So you might take them a little farther away so you have a lot of room to roll your body around and start to circle your body around. You can let each side of your seat rock up like you're a little rowboat in the water, just teetering. You can reverse the circles, rolling around here. And come back up to neutral. And we're going to use the blocks. So I'm going to take these to the highest height. Again, you can be using whatever props instead of blocks if you don't have your blocks. And start to lift and lengthen your spine. So grab a hold of your ankles or your shins or your knees or even your feet. Lift your spine really long and then start to hinge forward. So let your belly stop you if you're farther along in your pregnancy. Just stop before there's any compression in the belly. So the spine is long, the belly is long, and then you can use the extra elevation to support your body. You could let your head go. And you can find those same circular movements or maybe just a gentle rock left and right here. Bring your awareness across your lower back and the back of your hips as you move very gently and very slowly. If you have more room to fold and you want to lower your elevation, lower you can. You can even just use the ground. Again, if you're earlier in your pregnancy and you've got more room to work with, just be wherever you are today and listen again to your body, following the cues that your body gives you. Start to slowly rise back upright. Take your right leg, opening it nice and wide open. Take your left foot, place it inside the right thigh. I'll demo this using blocks. You can choose whether you want to use blocks or not. If you're using blocks, the blocks will come outside this right leg. If you're not using blocks, just put your arm down on the leg. So you're creating a little bit of extra height. You could create more height with more blocks. And then you're going to take the opposite arm up and over. Stay really long through the side of the body. And take that left hand outside the left hip, so the arm that was just extended overhead. ground the hand into the earth and start to lift your hips up. Take this slowly. If it doesn't feel comfortable or stable to do this, then don't do it. Take your opposite arm up and overhead. And slowly release yourself down. Switch this shape over to the other side. So your left leg will open long and wide. The right foot comes inside the left thigh. Your arm comes down on the left leg or on a block outside the left leg, and the opposite arm stretches up and over. And take that right hand now outside the right hip, ground it down onto the earth. Start to lift your hips up, lengthen that left leg, stretch the left arm up and over. And slowly release yourself down. Turn yourself over so you end up in a tabletop shape. If you're on a hard surface, you might want some cushion underneath your knees. Have your blocks handy nearby, and bring your hands under your shoulders and your knees either under your hips or a little bit wider, especially if you're farther along in your pregnancy. So you have a lot of room for your belly to freely move without hitting your thighs. And then very deeply now send your hips over to the right. So sink your way to the outer right hip. Circle your seat back towards your heels and come up towards the left, pausing with your weight sinking into the outer left hip. And do the same thing side to side a few times here. Move with your breath. So move at the pace in these little semicircles, these little half circles, that allows you to connect to your breath. Come up through to center, so to your tabletop here. And we're going to tuck the toes under. Tilt your seat to the sky just a little bit. Doesn't need to be a big arch of the lower back. If this feels uncomfortable in your lower back at all, then just keep the spine neutral and don't do the arching. So you're going to inhale. As you open your chest, look a little bit forward. And as you exhale, untuck your toes, round your back. Let your head release. Do that same thing 2 more times. So you determine how much you need to arch the back in a way that feels good. Maybe you're not doing this at all. And as you exhale, how much does it feel to dome the back of the body, to round the back of the body, to release? And one more time, inhale. And exhale. Come back to your neutral tabletop. Tuck your toes under again. You might narrow your stance just a little bit so your knees are more underneath your hips. And walk yourself back to sit on your heels. Take the blocks with you or whatever you're using in place of blocks. If sitting directly back on your heels, sometimes you have to uncurl the pinky toes too if they get curled under. If sitting directly back on your heels doesn't feel good, it's just too much weight down onto your feet, then keep the blocks nearby and you can lift your weight a little bit off your heels. You could also have them on either side. If this feels okay, in prenatal yoga classes, we very officially call this screaming toes. So you might already be feeling quite a lot of sensation in your feet. This is a wonderful breath exercise in addition to be a really great stretch for your feet. So the idea of this exercise is both to create some space in your feet, to stretch out the soles of the feet, but also how can we breathe through intense physical sensation? How can we keep our breath moving even when we feel some discomfort? Maybe closing your eyes. Maybe exhaling out with the mouth open. And just take a few more breaths here. Maybe you're already out of this exercise, giving yourself a little break, that's fine. Start to uncurl the toes back to neutral, come back into your tabletop. Hands underneath you. If you need to circle your ankles or wiggle at your toes, give your little feet some love, you can do so. And then refine that tabletop shape. Stretch the right leg back, toes tucked into the floor. Press back into the heel. Find length all the way down the back of the leg. And then you'll take this bottom shin, the left shin here, kick it open to the left, like the kickstand of a bicycle. Replant your left hand directly under your face, ground your right foot so you end up in a supported side plank, and then stretch the top arm up and over. So think of the top of your body like a rainbow. Press up into the outer top hip, and then circle all the way back down. Re-square off your hips, keep the right leg straight, and take that right leg on a big circle around. You can bend the knee, you could circle it, you could even grab it if you need a little help. Place the right foot outside the right hand on the edge of your mat. I'm going to use blocks here to bring the ground up. And then let the right knee come forward as much as feels good in the left thigh. And start to just rock yourself forward and backward. You can keep the right foot, this front foot, completely grounded, or you could peel the toes up off the ground as you press back, and then re-ground as you pull forward. Do this a few times. And go ahead, let those hands come back down to the earth. Move the blocks out of the way. Circle yourself back into your tabletop. You can swish-swash your hips a little bit side to side to release any sensation in that outer right hip. And start now by stretching the left toes back. Left leg is long. Press back into the heel. Kick the right shin open to the right. You might be able to hear a little thunder in the background of this video. There's some thunder and lightning happening outside. Ground the right hand down. Stretch the left arm up and over. Circle all the way back down. And now take that left leg on that circle around to come outside your left hand. Use your blocks inside the left foot. And start to roll yourself forward and backward. So hands are inside, so there's plenty of room for your belly to freely move. A couple more times. Bring the left knee back to meet the right knee. Bring your hands back down to the ground. Keep your hips on top of your knees. Start to walk your hands forward until your forehead comes down to the ground. You can widen your knees apart if you need space for your belly. And then stretch those arms as far in front of you as feels nice. You could rock out your hips side to side a few times. You could just stay still. Slide your hands back underneath you. Come back to that tabletop. And with the feet kicked out, so they're as wide as the mat, tuck your toes under and start to come up into a downward dog. If down dog doesn't feel good, if putting your head below your heart doesn't feel good in your pregnancy, then just skip this and stay in your tabletop or that puppy dog stretch that we were just in. If down dog feels good, find a nice wide stance so the feet are far apart. And then start to pedal one knee at a time, side to side, a few times, stretching out the back of the legs. Nice and slowly from here, we're going to come up to stand. Usually the most preferred way in pregnancy would be to walk your hands back nice and slowly, maybe bending your knees along the way to keep your chest and your head lifted. And then a nice, slow roll up to stand. Take your arms up and overhead. Exhale, release your hands by your side. From here, take yourself, using the length of your mat, into a wide standing straddle. So feet are wide. Take the front toes, pivot them forward. Bend the front knee. Take your arms to a T if your breath feels okay, or keep your hands at your waist if that feels more stable and comfortable. We're just going to move here. This is your warrior two. We're going to move a few moving warrior two. So straighten the front leg, circle the arms up, palms can touch overhead, exhale, rebend. Or keep your hands at your waist and just move the leg, bending and straightening the leg. Doing this 2 more times. And 1 more time. Bring your hands to your waist, straighten the front leg, pivot the toes in so the feet are back to parallel, and now the back toes open straight to the back of your mat. Bend the back knee. Arms open to a T if you're taking the arms with you. As you inhale, circle up. As you exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale. Hands can be at the waist if that's preferred. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more times, moving within this warrior two. Bring your hands back to your waist. Bring the feet back to parallel. Now we're going to fold forward. You might want your blocks. So if the block or blocks are behind you or around you, reach for them. Put them underneath you. Fold yourself forward. Bring your hands to the blocks or the ground. You can widen the stance if it feels like you have a little bit more room. Then you're just going to bend into each knee, side to side. Just a few times here. Come back through to center. Heel toe your feet a little closer together. Bend your knees and start to rise up into your goddess squat. So your toes are opened a little bit. Your thighs are opened. Your pelvis is neutral. Hands can be at your waist. You can take your arms to a T. You could have your hands at your thighs, or hands could be at heart center, wherever you want to be. 3 more big breaths here. 1, 2, 3. Bring your hands back to your waist, straighten your legs, relax your feet, swivel out your hips, rocking them side to side a few times, releasing any sensation in the inner thighs or the outer hips. And now bring yourself back down onto your mat. So however that works for you, you come down in an organic way, all the way onto your back. For your final resting shape for your Shavasana. So I'm going to show you a really comfortable shape you can take using a couple of pillows or blocks and a pillow. So you make a little elevation. This is a bolster and 2 blocks. Come onto your left side. You might want a pillow for under your head. And then you take that top leg, the right leg, and drape it over, like you're spooning this little tabletop you've made. Make it high enough that your belly has lots of room, your lower back can broaden. There's no compression here. And then maybe this is comfortable enough. You can close your eyes. Give yourself a moment of rest. Or use this opportunity as a moment to reconnect to your baby. Hand at the baby, hand at the heart. So whatever these quiet last few moments of class are for you, whatever you use them for, is what your body and what you need. So trust that guidance. Give yourself some rest and some relaxation. Pause this video if you're enjoying this shape and stay as long as you want to. If you're ready to come out of it, then just start by wiggling your fingers and toes, circling your ankles, making a little bit of gentle movement. Nice and slowly come up to sit. You can keep the tabletop right in front of you, the elevation you have there. Come into a comfortable cross-legged seat. Rest your hands on your legs, close your eyes. Take a moment here at the end of your practice to acknowledge what your body is doing, working hard to create a safe space for your baby to grow. Take a moment to acknowledge what you're doing, taking care of your body, taking care of yourself, taking care of your baby. And maybe finally acknowledging the other mothers also going through the same experience as you in this moment in time, for all that they are doing. Bring your hands pressed together, palm into palm at heart center. Take 3 big breaths. Inhale in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Let your chin tuck to your chest. If you still have that tabletop in front of you, you could drape your arms on the elevation, letting your head release. Whenever you're ready to lift up and to open your eyes, you can. Thank you so much for sharing your practice today with me. Namaste. Take care.